My spouse unexpectedly submitted divorce documents, claiming I was an incompetent partner, and abandoned me for a more youthful paramour. He was convinced I couldn't survive on my own. I merely grinned. These days, he contacts me 20 times each day. My partner James, after 15 years together, presented me with divorce forms the day before yesterday, labeling me a worthless spouse before announcing he's relocating to live with his lover. He seemed utterly certain I'd crumble in his absence. I'm still reeling from the blow, but I have to vent about this. I ought to have anticipated it. Reflecting now, the indicators were obvious, yet you resist accepting that the individual around whom you've constructed your entire existence could transform so profoundly. Or perhaps they were inherently that way, and you simply chose blindness. It began with minor shifts. James became obsessed with exercise roughly 8 months back, joining F45 sessions every dawn at 5 a.m., acquiring fresh outfits from Lululemon, and obsessively monitoring his Apple Watch metrics. I supported his enthusiasm. We're aging, after all, and wellness matters. He surprised me with a Peloton last Christmas, although he never failed to mention weekly its steep price and how seldom I touched it. Next arrived the extended evenings at the office, the peculiar messages he'd swiftly conceal as I approached, the novel fragrance from Sephora, acquired as a complimentary trial. He began critiquing how I maintain my looks, urging me to experiment with those popular skincare items from TikTok or opt for Botox like so many others. Keep in mind, I manage my self-care adequately. I'm simply uninterested in squandering fortunes on La Mer lotions or fleeting Instagram fads. The prior day, while sorting garments, I discovered a slip from Tiffany & Co. tucked in his jacket. Our finances aren't lavish. We frequent Target and pilot a 2018 Honda. That Tiffany slip triggered intense warnings. Upon reviewing our shared bank balance, I almost suffered a cardiac episode. Numerous transfers appeared to an unfamiliar holder, and our reserve funds had been steadily depleting across the preceding half year. I held off until his return, clutching the proof. Rather than the typical deflections or manipulations I anticipated, he simply chuckled. He genuinely chuckled. Then he retreated to his study, returned bearing a packet, and flung it onto our living room surface. I intended to delay until the weekend, but given your prying, take this, he remarked, sneering as if he'd triumphed in a contest. My legal advisor deems it equitable given your minimal input to this union. I remained seated, gazing at the separation documents, as he prattled on about his fresh companion, Aurora, truly prioritizing her upkeep and drive. Evidently, she's a workout promoter he encountered at F45. She boasts 50K adherents on Instagram and is ascending swiftly. In contrast, I'm merely the partner who bolstered him during his nascent professional phase, managed every domestic chore, and shelved my personal goals since he insisted his career took precedence. The harshest element, he's orchestrated this for months. He secured a residence with her in a posh high-rise in the city center. The Tiffany slip, an engagement token. He genuinely dipped into our communal reserves to adorn his affair with gems. Face facts, he declared. You struggle to navigate the Netflix interface sans my guidance. You'll reach out in days, pleading for reconciliation. Truthfully, I'm aiding you, compelling maturity at last. I refrained from weeping. I avoided shouting. I merely observed as he assembled his valise with his costly recent wardrobe. He claimed his tablet, his entertainment system, and the superior brewer. Abandoned me the inferior variant. Post-departure, I powered up my computer and delved into our ledgers. Uncovered he'd been shuffling funds since the new year. Unearthed billing records for eateries and lodgings unknown to me. Even located a payment trail that nauseated me. I phoned my sibling Vivian, who arrived promptly. We endured till dawn, sifting documents and compiling inventories. This dawn, I notified work of illness and scheduled a session with a separation specialist. I additionally halted our combined charge cards, a fact I'd gleaned from an offhand TikTok clip, amusingly. A full day has passed. My device registers 23 overlooked rings from him. The initial recording was furious. The follow-up was ominous. By the 10th, he was nearly imploring a sensible discussion. Initial follow-up. Gratitude to all for the encouragement on my prior entry. Still grappling with the chaos, yet developments have arisen that demand expression. The past 7 days, I've resided at my sibling Vivian's abode. I've crashed on her sofa in truth. She raises a child, and the spare chamber overflows with playthings. No grievances, however. Far preferable to solitude in that dwelling presently. The initial awakening struck during an Amazon order attempt. My payment was rejected for a mere $30 item. Contacted the institution, and that's when the threads loosened. Revealed James had been reallocating resources. Not vast sums to alert me, but consistent shifts of $200, $300 biweekly. Consistently tagged as vehicle upkeep or residence fixes. Mundane entries I'd overlook. Viewing retrospectively, I sense a touch of naivety. We've maintained distinct ledgers since the union. His notion, claiming efficiency, yet I relied on him for the shared reserve. Thither most of my earnings flowed. Cultivating our prospects, he phrased it. Indeed. Discovered he'd escorted Aurora to upscale venues. Not extravagantly costly, but exceeding our norms. such as that novel blend eatery in town where starters fetch $15 apiece. Conversely, he'd gripe over my $50 Target outlays on essentials we required. The oddity. A mid-document review, astonishing the volume amassed over 15 years, I located vouchers from locales I've never visited. Trivial items. Cafes proximate her dwelling. Cinema passes from outings I skipped. He scarcely concealed them, merely filed among our routine files. Vivian's assisted in classification. She toils at a financial entity, thus discerns key signs. Textbook monetary mistreatment, she termed it. Albeit that label seems overly theatrical for my ordeal. I merely sense. Foolish, as if detection should have come earlier. The strangest occurrence unfolded yesterday at Walmart, procuring essentials. Dentifrice, cleanser, routine fare. Encountered James's kin Mateo. Rather than unease, he aided selecting an economical scanner for paperwork. Informed me James replicated such tactics with his adolescent sweetheart. Would have aided knowing 15 years prior. But no matter, James persists in phoning. Less frequently now, reduced to perhaps 5 to 6 daily. The notes evolved from ire to oddly solicitous. Merely fretting over your bill management, he messaged yesterday. As though I haven't covered my cellular charge independently throughout. Aurora dispatched a note via Facebook. No theatrics, simply perhaps we converse soon. I ignored it unread. What merits discussion? She recognized his marital status. She's no blameless casualty herein. I consulted a separation counsel yesterday. Unpretentious. Located her via a feminine aid network on Facebook. She expressed alarm over select fiscal matters, particularly upon viewing his fund maneuvers. Stated urgency to block further concealment. The utmost jolt arrived upon accessing our antiquated communal mail. Uncovered verifications for a charge device unknown to me. No elite threshold or similar. Merely a standard capital one with a $3,000 cap. Yet he'd employed it for months, chiefly at diners and fuel stops near her locale. Had to smirk at Planet Fitness entries thereon. He'd asserted attendance at pricier F45, likely to dazzle her. Evidently, the exercise promoter companion yielded less revenue than he feigned. Today, I established my personal financial vault. A simple deposit at Chase. The attendant proved immensely accommodating. Demonstrated app navigation and such. No advanced calculus, contrary to James's perpetual assertions. And I deciphered his fixation on overseeing the Netflix ledger. Discovered a distinct user he viewed alongside her. Quite refined, James. Amendment 1, appreciation for counsel on halting credit. Accomplished, proves rather straightforward. Amendment 2, affirmative, archiving all. Possess a directory on my device brimming with captures. Amendment 3, to inquirers. Negative, no replies to them. Counsel advises silence. Amendment 4, regarding proposals to unveil Aurora online. Uninclined toward turmoil. Desire passage with poise preserved. Secondary follow-up. Brief note as this week proved tumultuous. Recall James's assurance of my collapse sans him. Karma intervened otherwise. It commenced upon securing employment at a nearby firm. Unremarkable. Elementary patron aid. 16 hours weekly. Yet herein lies the twist. The workspace occupies the identical edifice as one of James's principal patrons. Those he perpetually courts. Unintended, merely spotted the listing on Indeed and submitted. Inaugural workday, whom do I espy in the lift? James in his pivotal conference attire. The one he exhausted our Nordstrom limit upon, with Aurora shadowing like a stray. His expression upon sighting me in professional garb, toting my fresh portable satchel. Invaluable. Aurora merely lingered uneasily, likely pondering her prosperous beau's spectral pallor. But the enhancement arrives now. Recall James's monopoly on our budgets due to my alleged disarray. My novel overseer Matthew appreciates my precision. Requested aid in structuring office tables. As I mastered Excel, courtesy of YouTube guides, I extended those proficiencies to cataloging James's fiscal escapades. The pinnacle. No need for theatrics. Simply delivered my meticulously arranged dossiers of statements, charges, and captures to my legal rep. She grinned upon review. Ideal, she noted. No necessity for specialist auditors. James learned during our initial arbitration. He arrived smug, anticipating dishevelment. Contrarily, he entered a space with duplicated records of each dubious exchange over the prior year, encompassing in fees near Aurora's pad he dubbed professional encounters. His visage as the arbiter dissected the proofs, superior to contrived reprisal. Yet it escalates. Recall that Peloton from Yuletide, the unused one per him. I accessed the ledger last week. What emerged? Exercise logs depicting him and Aurora utilizing it jointly. In our abode. On occasions of my sibling visits. Indeed, our home. I alluded nonchalantly in arbitration. Merely proffered the activity printout. James faltered in justification. True retribution struck as Aurora grasped James's feigned affluence. Evidently, she uncovered his lingering debt on that Tiffany token, which, incidentally, derived not from genuine Tiffany. Receipt indicated a mimic site. Whence my knowledge, Aurora acted curiously. She forwarded via Instagram. Not the typical discourse plea but captures, abundant captures, exchanges wherein James vowed vehicular purchase. Via which funds, indeed. Dialogues on upscale dwelling he can't sustain. Even select barbs at me destined for procedural intrigue. Believed you'd discern his essence, she appended. Concluded my role in deceptions. I abstained response. Merely relayed to counsel. Calculated reprisal trumps spectacle. The summit, James's matriarch rang yesterday. Evidently, she's monitored via our locale's rumor web. She atoned for abetting his conduct across years, then unleashed revelation. James was dismissed from employment. Unrelated to me. Seemingly, he'd exaggerated reimbursements for months. Those lavish outings with Aurora. Billed to corporate. Candidly, a portion yearned to broadcast on Facebook. Disseminate captures. Induce his humiliation akin to my useless branding. Yet, unnecessary, he's masterfully eroding his stature solo. Instead, I devoted to domesticating my modest efficiency unit. Acquired Flora from Home Depot. They endure. Mastered solo television fixation. YouTube excels. And commenced authentic culinary education. Evidently, I'm not innately inept in cuisine as James professed. Supreme reprisal. When he spawned yet another Instagram persona to contact, Ire evaded me. Merely flagged junk and resumed YouTube prep lesson. Tertiary follow-up. Recalled James's dismissal for reimbursement deceit. Merely inception. It ignited preceding Tuesday amid pre-work Starbucks caffeine. Overheard adjacent patrons discussing one nabbed billing private outlays to firm ledgers. Dismissed until James's moniker surfaced. Revealed not solely Aurora outings on corporate. He'd executed across prior 3 positions. Whence awareness, Aurora, improbably verbalized, and broadly. Post-dismissal, he faltered sustaining vows to her. No further upscale suppers at Cheesecake Factory. No Lululemon indulgences. No proximal urban escapes. Decisive. He defaulted on faux Tiffany installments. Affirmative, incredulity persists over imitation. Aurora transcended ire. She strategized. Those fabricated reimbursements. She retained images, copious images. He once vaunted ingenuity to her, displaying fiscal ploys. She archived in Google Photos, deeming her suitor's fiscal acumen noteworthy. Prior week, she crafted a TikTok, unembellished, a narrative on courting a revealed imposter, anonymized yet featured receipt vignettes. Clip proliferated locally. James's former associates identified ledger style. Concurrently, my modest triumph, that communal Amazon ledger he sought reclaim, revealed gifts for Aurora amid our tenure. Thus, a minor, gratifying spite, returned all eligible items. Refunds credited my original payer card. Pinnacle, he overlooked till Amazon's evaluation mails arrived. By then, Aurora's acquisitions resided in Amazon depots, reimbursements processed. Yet escalation peaks herein. Yesterday, at Target for containment units to tidy my fresh space, I crossed James's sibling Katie. Rather than strain, she embraced and divulged. James had solicited parental loans, alleging ventures, revealed as facade upkeep with Aurora. Parents discerned at recent familial repast. How? Aurora's TikTok infiltrated maternal Facebook. Evidently, tumult at Olive Garden. Paternal fury prompted reclaiming domicile duplicate. James's retort, utter collapse. He bombarded contacts for remediation. Spawned Instagram harassers for Aurora. Persistently dialed ex-employer for elucidation. Even materialized at parental threshold, past midnight imploring comprehension. Retribution persisted, however. Recall his cloud repository oversight due to my purported chaos. Last week I accessed to retrieve vintage images. Unearthed directory of nascent Aurora dialogues, encompassing post-departure blueprints. Unrequired action. Merely dispatched to counsel. She chuckled, noting procedural simplification. Absolute zenith. Aurora's sequel TikTok yesterday. Displayed faux Tiffany with dubious site captures. Clip nears 50K observations. James assayed workplace intrusion to, converse this, peruse, entreat reputational aid. Guards barred edifice entry. Seemingly, lobby spectacle now graces office surveillance montage. Yesterday, a slight malice. Altered streaming credentials sequentially amid his surveillance alerts exploding on access bids. Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, his cherished ESPN+. By third ping I giggled outright. His aspirational Tesla Model 3, leased beyond means to Aurora, seized this morn. From Motel 6 lot post-Aurora eviction. I observed from opposing Duncan Q. Unpremeditated, mere en route caffeine halt. Occasionally, Cosmos bestows such spectacles. Amendment 1. Affirmative, retaining duplicates for separation. Amendment 2. Negative, withholding Aurora's TikTok identifier, not fostering further uproar. Fourth follow-up. Unintended additional entry, yet recent occurrences warrant a fitting conclusion. 6 months post James's exit dubbing me worthless partner. Separation formalized. No theatrical tribunal, merely forms and advocates in drab quarters. James appeared disheveled, donning his vaunted Nordstrom blouse, now creased and snug. Evidently, Aurora's wellness promoter routine waned. Herein intrigue mounts. Those fabricated reimbursements. Firm abstained prosecution or spectacle. Corporate nonchalance. Retained final wage and incentives. Barred reemployment proceeded. Grand entities shun publicity akin others. Aurora departed last month, sans flourish or clip. Relocated to suburban parental home. Seemingly, allure fades sans Cheesecake Factory affordability. She essayed Instagram elucidation, but unread sufficed. Certain matters forgo resolution. James leases a communal chamber townward. Tesla seized, unsurprisingly, now pilots a worn Honda. The variety he derided my basic preference. I persist in patron aid role, secured modest increment, $5 hourly. Not transformative.